If a man wants an access to me, he can invest something more than a Wi-Fi, right? The bar is so low, it's practically underground, ladies.
The bar is low because you have your foot on the scales. Subscribe, let's talk about it.
Can someone explain this to me? A man asks a woman out, okay? She pays for her hair, she pays for her makeup, she pays for the outfit, she pays for her petrol, she spends then 2 hours driving to him, right? He sits at home, does absolutely nothing. What exactly is the woman getting out of this deal? She's invested money, time, effort, and energy. And what he invested absolutely nothing, okay? Ladies, when did we start confusing convenience for effort? If a man wants to see me, he can get in a car, right? If a man wants to date me, he can make a plan. If a man wants an access to me, he can invest something more than a Wi-Fi, right? The bar is so low, it's practically underground, ladies. And somehow we are still bringing shovels.
All right, so let's be real, but let's have some fun with this. So a man invites you over to his place. You accept that. You get yourself in the car. You drive over there. You're upset that you accepted this, and you're upset that you're thinking that his only investment there was the Wi-Fi, the price of the Wi-Fi. He has a home that you're going to. Why don't you consider that as a factor into that, right? Okay, let's be a little more serious about this. When you don't recognize a male's effort into dating, this is when you end up looking silly. Also, as an aside, whenever we have comments about the way you dress up when you're going out, how you dress, the provocative way you dress, you tell us you don't dress for the male gaze. You're dressing for your friends. You're dressing for each other. You're dressing to feel good. But then you want to actually attach this onto the cost of you getting ready for a date. Is that not for a man? You can see where we're confused, where we see the difference here. One, you're just doing the same things that cost you when you're going out with your girls, versus now you don't charge them. You don't say your girls have to be responsible for that. Look at the effort you put into going out with your girls. That it's only in dating, it's only the man. But let's go with this silly analogy for a second, right? You're doing this and saying that this is one of the reasons why men should bear the cost of the date. But you're doing this to become attractive to the man. Just let it go. It's true. We all know it's true. You're doing this to become attractive to the man. What does a man do to be attractive to you? And what in response you say, oh, he got a haircut. You don't count that you went out and bought new clothes. You don't count that maybe he went out and bought new clothes. I'll let you have that. Even though we know we're pretending as if you go out and buy new clothes every time you have some sort of event. Let's just let them have that. Now you talk about your makeup, you talk about your perfume, you talk about getting ready, all the things that you normally would do. But okay, that's a man's problem. That's a man's issue. How much of that cologne that you sprayed on you, that perfume you sprayed on you, is for me that I get to actually enjoy? You can have a $300 bottle, but how much is it per actual spray? Because that's the part that's due to me, right? Your makeup that you buy, however expensive it is, how much is a singular application? That's what is being spent on me, not the entirety of it. Even that outfit you wear, we can sit there and do the math on that. How much is that outfit? How many wears of that outfit are you going to get before you have to say it's too old, it's out of fashion, it's out of season? You throw it away, you give it away, whatever, you resell it, whatever. That's how much is due onto me. That's the price. You want to talk about the gas that it costs for you to go from here to there to your car? How much, how many miles? Break that down per gallon. That's the price due onto me. Is that still any of that when you total that together? Does that equal the price of the date? Does it equal the price of the dinner? It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Now, if we're still being fair, what did it cost me to become attractive to you? Right? As women say it, as women put together what they say is attractive to men, it's about his ambition. It's about his education level. Is he well-traveled? Does his relationship with his mom? All these things we start breaking down into actual costs. Leave the mom out of it, right? We don't charge our mom for affection. But the cost of my education, that doesn't matter, right? What about the cost for me traveling to become more worldly? We don't want to look at that cost. The cost of the house, the cost of the car. It cost me to become who I am today. We don't put that cost upon you. We just say this is the cost of doing business. When you don't really have a lot to offer, right? When we strip away all these nuances, all these silly things, trying to make one party seem more important than the other, when we strip those things away, what do we say that's actually tangible that you have done yourself, the work you've done on yourself, that you can bring forward to say, this is what makes me a worthy candidate? A lot of that onus isn't on women. It's for you to look attractive, for you to be personable, for you to be feminine. The man has to do all these other things, but we never get to turn around and say, why should I have to now further put out any money? Look what it took me to get here. Look what it took me to get ready for this date. It took me years, decades to get here. This is why this conversation ends up being very silly. Before we continue, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss no uploads. Join us Subscriber Sunday, 7 p.m. Central Time. It's a day for us to laugh, kiki, ha ha ha, bunch of that stuff. So listen, hype the video, share the video. We got some merch in the store. We got membership open on the channel. So do what you got to do. So these conversations don't really get you anywhere as women saying, well, we do all these things. Look what we have to do. Look what we have to get through. Yo, I don't really care. Men don't really care. We haven't asked you to, come with that amount of makeup. That we didn't tell you get your hair done in that sort of fashion. These are things that would do cost. You were going to do that anyway. Your costs are your costs. My costs are my costs. If you want effort in that dating, that's absolutely fine. But part of that effort is going to be determined when we first meet, how we interact. Then what do we do in the next date? If there's a next date, because where's the expectation? And I get why you'd want someone to pull out all the stops immediately because you take your validation from that. But men are looking at things more pragmatically, more economically, when they're seeing so many people talk, one, about transactional relationships, two, about how you refuse to do things that are supposed to just be an excuse for us to get together and get to know each other. If every time I go out with you, it's going to cost me $200, the average date right now in the United States, then I'm going to look and say, well, what did it take for me to get this $200? I don't even know if I like you to that extent. And it doesn't matter how much we talk on the phone or we could FaceTime. At some point in time, we have to get together face to face to see if this chemistry is actually real. Now, this is not me saying that because I paid for dates that I'm entitled to your body. Let's head off that silly notion right there. But if one is looking at things pragmatically, and now you're looking at the cost of the bill, the high sedittiness of the establishment that we go, especially when these places you don't frequent, you want me to impress you. You want me to pull out the stops. You want me to spend the money. You want me to go above and beyond because you think and you believe that you're worth it. But when we have the conversation, it's always about, look what it cost me to get ready. Okay. Let's bury these silly notions and just say, if you want effort from men in terms of dating, you have to show your value, and that's hard to do up front. But when you have a great dinner the first time, and even if things go well, he may still evaluate and say, yeah, it's really not worth doing a second one. Because you've become very accustomed to simply showing up and saying, look how pretty I am, look how well I smell, look how I've gotten ready and present myself. When you've forgotten that the fundamental aspects are still like, we're here to get to know each other. If you don't have a lot of personality behind that, I would hope most men would just say, I'm gonna chalk this to the game, this price to the game. I don't really see this going anywhere. I'm gone. Unfortunately, what we also see is like, well, I've already paid in. Let me keep going until I get my reward for this. This is how relationships we have so many false starts. I'm doing enough so I can just sleep with you. And then that's it. So then you end up feeling used. Like, we went on a couple of dates, we had sex, and then he never showed up. I never heard from him again. He knew from jump. There's nothing else. There's not a lot I can get out of here. Now, this is my critique for men. This is absolutely my critique for men. You don't see this going anywhere. You don't see any potential. And men, we've been on dates like that, where you're talking, the outer exterior is gorgeous, beautiful. But inside, it's a little vapid. There's not a lot there. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy the night. Pay for the date. Go about your business. Hey, wish you best. Wish you well. Better to leave people with good dates and then still, talk shit about you anyway online or the next story time, rather than you have a bad date, they still talk shit on you on the next story time. You're going to end up on the T app anyway. If you disagree, let me know down in the comments below. If you see other videos on the screen, check those out. Let me know your thoughts about those in those videos. And of course, if you listen to my voice now, if you have not subscribed, I think you should. You're trying to build something dope. I'll see you in the next one.